to become the strongest beast tamer in history. I ignored the 108 known powerful beasts. Instead, on the day of my awakening, I chose to witness the emergence of the ancient dragon progenitor. However, upon seeing the intense radiance on my body, they regretfully announced that my talent was ranked the lowest at F grade. Yet, what they did not know was, I had awakened to a divine talent surpassing even the Sanus level. A divine realm of presale space. Not only did I open a beautiful environment, spanning land, sea, and air in the presale space, but I also possessed 3 outrageous attributes: rapid growth, talent enhancement, and instant summoning. More terrifyingly, as my level increases, new additional attributes will emerge, and the operating rules of this world seem to have become disordered. This is what led to the red glow, similar to an S-grade talent during my awakening. After a moment of hesitation, I left the awakening ritual. After all, in the perception of everyone on planet Blue, the strongest talent is S-grade. How could I explain myself awakening to an unprecedented level? Should I tell them I tamed the candle dragon? But then, how could I explain to others the existence of the candle dragon? It was a dead end. Therefore, admitting to an F-grade talent was the best choice for now. Afterward, following the procedure, my classmates and I came to the school's nurturing center. Here, we could receive a free beast cub as our contract partner. Of course, as mass-produced products of the school, the talents of these beast cubs could not be outstanding, but with the talent enhancement attribute, the initial talent of the cub was not that important to me. So, on the way, I had already made up my mind. When the teacher in charge heard my request, he asked in surprise, "You only care about the nurturing cost? Nothing else?" I nodded firmly, "Yes, teacher." After a moment of silence, the teacher said solemnly, "Student, if you have financial difficulties, the school can help you apply for a loan. Our celestial empire has subsidies in this regard, and the interest won't be too high. A beast tamer's income is decent. Once you become an official beast tamer, you can easily pay it back. Don't waste your talent due to financial pressure. That would be a great loss." Hearing this, I was touched, but I still said, "Thank you, teacher, but I insist on my choice." "All right," the teacher nodded, without saying more. After all, for some families, even with a loan, it might not solve the problem. So he could understand such a choice. Then he took out a card from the drawer and handed it to me. "Take this and complete the procedures. I guarantee this is absolutely the most well-nourished beast cub in all of True. Not a single one is better cared for. Without a doubt, after it reaches adulthood, I'll go to the designated area according to the number on the card." The female teacher glanced at the card, slightly dazed. "Don't stop me. Why don't you go take a look at it first, then make your decision?" I shook my head helplessly. "No need. It's him. For me, anyway. Whatever it is, it's all the same." However, the female teacher asked the student again, "Your registration is directly entered into the system. Once it's entered, it can't be changed. Are you really sure?" "I'm sure. Please process the paperwork for me." I was rendered speechless. Why are both teachers acting like this? The female teacher didn't say anything more and began entering the information into the computer, but very soon the information was entered. She stood up and said, "Wait a moment. I'll go get the beast cub for you." In less than 2 minutes, the female teacher returned, but upon seeing what she was holding in her arms, the reborn me couldn't help but roar. The corners of my mouth twitched uncontrollably. What she held in her arms was a green turtle, the size of a wash basin. If I'm not mistaken, this must be the beast I'm supposed to receive. A green turtle. Why does it feel like the implication is so strong? This is giving me a headache. I did say I didn't care what beast it was. But a turtle? What the heck kind of special case is this? But it's too late for me to change my mind now. I just hope people in this world don't know the special meaning behind Turtle Man. At this moment, the female teacher handed the turtle to me. Take it. When it wakes up, you can try forming a contract with it. It was then that I realized this turtle was actually still in a deep sleep. The teacher carried it all the way here, yet it didn't wake up at all. Its alertness is pathetic. At the same time, I finally understood what the most well-nourished in all of Chuaning meant. It sleeps so much that it barely consumes anything. Of course, it's easy to care for. Thank you, teacher. As I spoke, I reluctantly took the turtle. A turtle I chose myself. I'll have to raise it no matter what. However, the teacher's next words made me open my eyes wide instantly. I heard the female teacher instruct. By the way, your turtle is a bit different from normal ones. Its attribute is the spatial system. You must remember this. I was dumbstruck. Teacher, are you sure there's no misjudgment? This is the first time I've heard of this. I'm more shocked than you, but we have identified it 3 times consecutively. The reason for this situation arising, we analyzed, must be that it has undergone some unknown mutation. However, you should know, low-level spatial techniques are actually quite ineffective. So don't have high expectations for its abilities. Just cultivate it normally as usual. I understand. Thank you, teacher. Afterward, I hurriedly left the cultivation center, barely containing my excitement. At that moment, all my previous frustrations vanished into thin air. I even felt like leaping and bounding with joy. If nothing goes wrong, I've found a treasure. Generally speaking, for a spatial creature to have a chance to awaken spatial abilities, it requires at least a level 6 platinum grade spatial beast. And the higher the ability, the higher the required level and grade. In other words, to put it another way, a level 1 low grade, bronze grade green terrapin has virtually no chance of awakening spatial abilities. Having spatial power, yet lacking spatial techniques, is the reason the teacher called it ineffective. But for me, it's another story. With rapid growth and the effect of great elevation, as long as I have enough resources, I can eventually awaken the green terrapin's spatial abilities. I entered the classroom. As I walked in, I planned to first sign the beast taming contract with the green terrapin. On one hand, after signing the contract, I could officially take the green terrapin in. On the other hand, carrying a green terrapin while walking on the street would be a bit embarrassing. Soon, the ritual array was drawn. On the blood-red array, faint white lights first appeared, then quickly converged. Within my consciousness, at the same time, I felt a surge of hot energy coursing through my body. Yet my mind had a refreshingly cool sensation. The two sensations, though brief, after they dissipated, I seemed to have grown slightly stronger. My spirit also felt better than before. At this point, I couldn't help but smile faintly. Having this reaction meant I had successfully soul-bound. From now on, from this moment, I was an honored apprentice beast tamer. Then I pondered for a moment, stroking my chin, and said, I'll call you Zuanwu from now on. Green Terrapin is too mundane a name. Your name must sound more powerful. Furthermore, I want to use this name to constantly remind myself that I'm an earthling. Now, return to my spatial dwelling first and rest. I'll go find you something to eat, I said. With a thought, the green terrapin on the table instantly appeared in my spatial dwelling, and my consciousness followed right after. The moment we entered the dwelling, Zuanwu was visibly stunned for a bit. Then, after a good 10 seconds or so, I sensed a thought from him. This place is so beautiful. Casually stretching out its 4 legs, it scurried swiftly towards the ocean at the island's edge. That joyful demeanor, so different from the one who couldn't be woken before. It was like night and day. I smiled faintly, my consciousness returning to my body. I headed towards the academic affairs office. The school would provide each student who received the empowerment with 1 month's free rations. It was for those who had just become apprentice auctioneers. A transition period. After receiving the rations, I headed to the classroom. According to procedure, next, the homeroom teacher would give us some pointers on auctioneering. But just as I reached the classroom door, someone stopped me. It was the class beauty and school belle, Liu Ruyan. After awakening her B-grade talent, she had been excitedly called away by the principal. Can you come with me for a bit? I have something to tell you. Liu Ruyan's tone was as gentle as before awakening her talent. Can't you just say it here? I had already vaguely heard when Liu Ruyan was speaking. The cheering from the classroom. Liu Ruyan said resolutely, no, this is very important. No one else can know. All right then, lead the way. I glanced at the classroom window, covered with peering heads. Helplessly, I nodded. Since she insisted, I couldn't refuse. Liu Ruyan turned and headed to the summoning chamber nearby. Lin Mo, go for it. Lin Mo, we're rooting for you. The faint voices from behind almost made me stumble. I glared at those idiots, then hurried to catch up. In the summoning chamber, without a word, Liu Ruyan began drawing a summoning array. When it was complete, she held a head-sized egg in her hand. Seeing this, I couldn't help but react. This was a high-quality beast egg. Liu Ruyan smiled. This is a golden ultimate ghost tiger. I called you here to give this to you. Give it to me? My eyes widened. The egg of a vicious beast like the ghost tiger would cost at least millions. After a pause, I asked, is this from the school? Liu Ruyan nodded. I wiped my mouth. So this is the benefit of having a high talent. Then I asked, if you give this to me, what will you use? Liu Ruyan smiled. My family has prepared one for me. I fell silent. What she meant was her family had something better. But she considered my feelings. So she didn't say that part. I wiped my mouth again. Then I asked a crucial question. Why give it to me? Give this to me. What will you use? Give it to me to Ruyan smiled gently like smoke. My family prepared it for me. But I fell silent directly. The complete version of that line should be my family prepared something better for me. It's just that this girl considered my feelings. So, after that, I asked a very crucial question. Why do you want to give it to me? For example, the willows blushed slightly red. Then she said, no reason. I just want to give it to you. Is that not allowed? She reacted. I blinked my eyes. Gazing at Liu Ruyan, I asked. I was flustered, but quickly calmed down. Then nodded calmly. Yes, I like you, Sewenian. I couldn't help but gasp. My expression was even more shocked than when Liu Ruyan gave me the spirit egg. I was still stunned that this girl actually liked me. Seeing this, my classmates always teased me and Liu Ruyan. Apparently it wasn't just idle talk, but I still couldn't help but ask her again. Do you really like me? You're handsome, she said, leaving me speechless. I admit I'm a little handsome. But girl, saying that is a bit hurtful, isn't it? Don't I have any other good qualities besides being handsome? Foolish girl. She couldn't help but laugh. In an instant, the empty classroom seemed to bloom with 100 flowers. Full of spring. Forgive me, in my past life I've seen countless beauties. But at this moment, I can't help but be captivated. Actually, I don't know why I like you either. But I just do. Liu Ruyan frowned her jade-like nose, seeming quite troubled by this as well. I can understand. There's a poem on earth that says feelings arise without reason, growing deeper and deeper. Sometimes there's no reason for liking someone. But often these feelings will be more profound than ordinary feelings. At this moment, Liu Ruyan again handed the egg to me. Can you accept it now? No, I still shook my head solemnly. Why not? Liu Ruyan asked, puzzled. I like you, so it's normal for me to give you a gift, isn't it? You can give me gifts because you like me. But I can't accept your gifts just because you like me. That would make me a scumbag. Liu Ruyan asked further. Then what would make you accept it? I responded with a solemn expression, Buddha. Then I thought about sending the egg out. Hearing my words, she subconsciously said, "Then why don't you become my boyfriend, only mine?" A slight smile crept onto the corners of her mouth. "What would you like me to do?" Ru Yan was stunned for a while before coming to her senses. Then, with a face as fragile as a puff of smoke, she instantly turned as red as a monkey's bottom. She wished she could find a crack in the ground to crawl into at that very moment. What did I just say? I quietly watched Ru Yan fidgeting there. The smile on my lips grew more pronounced. I couldn't help but say, "A beauty is a beauty." Even her fidgeting has a certain charm to it. After a good while, Ru Yan finally calmed down. Then she abruptly looked up at Lin Mu. "You said you were willing." At this point, I had dropped my smile too. I nodded solemnly. "I'm willing, Ru Yan." Ru Yan immediately beamed with joy and handed me her hair tie. She put it in my hand. "Take this, then." But soon after, she seemed to have thought of something, and her expression became somewhat dejected again. I immediately guessed the reason. "You're leaving tomorrow, aren't you?" Ru Yan nodded. I wasn't surprised by this. Chuanning City and Qiyun City are both under Qingyuan Province. But Chuanning is just a small city with a population of around 2 million. While Qiyun City is the provincial capital of Qingyuan, with a population exceeding 8 million, in terms of resources and educational standards. The two are not even on the same level. If Ru Yan goes there, she will certainly receive better training. I pondered for a moment, then asked, "When you go to Qiyun, you'll be going to Qingyuan Academy eventually, right?" Ru Yan nodded again. "That's good then. In 3 months' time, there will be the nationwide college entrance exam for prestigious academies. I'll go to Qingyuan Academy to find you then." Ru Yan's spirit lifted upon hearing this. But then she asked with some concern, "Do you think you can get into Qingyuan?" It's not that she didn't believe in me, but to enter Qingyuan Academy, one needs to rank at the very top in the entrance exam. This requirement is simply too difficult, even for someone with my extraordinary talents. I'm not confident. I shook my head. Then I said, "However, if you can help me with something, I should have a 9 out of 10 chance of making it." Ru Yan immediately asked, "What is it?" "As long as I can do it." I rubbed my nose a bit embarrassedly. "Lend me 2 million. I'll pay you back with interest in a year." My original plan was to take it slow and steady, develop at a healthy pace. After all, with my divine talents, as long as I'm not careless, becoming powerful is just a matter of time. But to get into Qingyuan, so my previous plan clearly won't work anymore. I can only resort to the Krypton method now. Of course. Naturally. Mainly because Li Ruyang is a young wealthy lady. She has the means, otherwise, even if I wanted to use the Krypton method, I couldn't. "No problem, just give me an account. I'll transfer some to you when I get back." Lu Yin agreed without hesitation. Then I pointed to the classroom and said, "Let's go." We've been alone for so long. Will our classmates gossip about us? I have a thick skin, so I don't care. But Liu Ruyan probably can't take it. Wait, I have one last question. Liu Ruyan's face turned red, but she still mustered the courage to look at me. Are we officially boyfriend and girlfriend now? This issue was my negligence in speaking. I walked up to Lai Ruxian and gently cupped her face. Then I leaned down and kissed her lips. Lai Ruxian's eyes widened in shock. Her first kiss was just taken like that. And before she could recover, in our hometown, this is called sealing the deal. You belong to me now. Saying this, a sly smile appeared on my lips. How about that? Are you satisfied with my answer? Your friend Lai Ruxian's already flushed lotus seeds were so red they could drip blood. But she still quickly pecked my lips. This is my seal on you. You belong to me too. She then pushed me away and ran out. I touched my lips, smiling faintly. Then I stored the ghost-like egg in my dimensional space. I took this egg because she was a ghost. If I didn't, that girl would never be able to rest in peace. But whether it's the 2 million borrowed, or this favor, I will have to repay it all eventually. As for my title, Jade returned from the cell. I haven't decided how to handle that yet. I can't have people call me a freeloader on top of that. Back in the classroom, my classmates of course couldn't help but gossip. Before entering, Lyruxian's face, which had just regained its composure, flushed red again. But I have a thick skin. Not bothered at all. Linmo, did you confess? My deskmate and those around had gathered, their faces burning with the raging flames of gossip. I calmly said, I confessed. Lyruxian is my girlfriend now. You must be kidding. Only an idiot would believe you. The crowd immediately dispersed. Seeing this, I sighed inwardly. Reality is often like this. Lies are too easily believed as truth, while the truth is not believed. Then the teacher entered and the class quieted down. I'll announce 2 things. The class fell completely silent. Next, I'm going to announce 2 things. The first is, 3 months from now, the National College Entrance Examination for Cultivators. This exam will directly decide your future lives. If you want your future life to be easier, then in the next 3 months, work your hardest to improve your combat strength. Because that is the most crucial factor in determining your exam scores. Do you all understand? The students responded in unison. Understood. The class teacher nodded. Then continued. Now for the second thing. Starting from tomorrow, those with spiritual talents over level 20 will directly report to the elite class. Upon hearing this, everyone looked envious, being selected as someone with a talent over level 20. The benefits in the elite class are exceptional. Not only will your living expenses be covered for free, but every month, you'll also receive an additional 50,000 spirit stones as a resource subsidy. You should know that in this small town of Chuanling, the average monthly salary for ordinary workers is only around 8,000, 50,000 per month. That income, you don't need to envy it. The class teacher continued, saying for those with F-grade talents, if you want to join the elite class, you can participate in the school's class transfer challenge. As long as you succeed in the challenge, you'll be admitted into the elite class, enjoying the same benefits as the elite students. Upon hearing this, the students with lower spiritual talents immediately became excited. For them, this was simply an opportunity to leap over the dragon's gate. However, very soon this group of people calmed down again. Because even with just a simple thought, they knew this challenge would definitely not be easy. At this moment, the class teacher clapped his hands, asking, all right, that's all I wanted to say. If you don't have any other questions, you can leave for today. The students all shook their heads. But I slowly raised my hand. Teacher, I have a question. To get into Qingyuan Academy, about what level of combat strength do I need? The class teacher was stunned for a moment, looking at me with some surprise. You want to apply to Qingyuan? I nodded and said, yes, that's right. The surrounding classmates saw the scene, and they all gasped in astonishment. Does Linmo really want to apply for Qingyuan Academy? Linmo was just trying something new. It's not just a whim. I think he was most likely provoked by Ling Chaohua. That makes sense. After all, the one who used to pursue him has become someone he can't reach. This blow must be quite devastating. Ah, poor Linmo. The class teacher stopped the whispers among the students, and then glanced at the seat where Liu sat, his face slightly flushed. He had also heard some rumors about Linmo and Liu Ruyan's relationship, but he had never taken them seriously. Because from his observation, the interaction between the two was just a normal student relationship. But now that Linmo had such an outburst, it made him have to think more. However, at this stage close to graduation, even if there was something between them, he would not intervene. And if the students were willing to go crazy for love, that wasn't necessarily a bad thing. If a major surprise were to happen, it could benefit himself, the class, and even the school. The teacher then thought for a moment and said, the last student admitted last year. If I'm not mistaken, his beast's growth stage has reached the 6th juvenile stage, and its skill proficiency level is already at proficient. When these words came out, the students were in an uproar again. My goodness, the 6th juvenile stage. Is that like a catalyst or something? More terrifying is the proficient skill level. Even if you practice non-stop for 3 months, you may not be able to reach the proficient level. You're missing the point, comrades. This is just the last student admitted to our academy last year. Can you imagine how powerful those rank higher must be? Oh my god. That's terrifying. Hearing these discussions, Liu Ruyan couldn't help but look at Lin Mo with some concern. Previously, when Lin Mo said he wanted to apply for King Yuan Academy, she agreed in the spur of the moment. But now thinking about it, the difficulty was indeed a bit too great. Although she hoped Lin Mo could get closer to King Yuan, she didn't want to put too much pressure on him because of it. And after hearing Lin Mo's words, I was also quite surprised in my heart. With the space plus the gacha spending, enrolling in the Qingyan Academy would be a piece of cake. But now it seems I probably need to get serious. When I returned home, my parents weren't back from work so I took the opportunity to bring out the Ghost Valleys chestnuts. Having just become an apprentice forecaster, I cannot contract a second pet beast, because an apprentice forecaster's forecasting space is still unstable, and contracting multiple pet beasts could result in them breaking free from the contract. But my forecasting space is not only large enough, it's also absolutely stable, so in theory, I can now contract many reborn beasts. Of course, on the condition that I can afford to raise them. After a moment, as the contract formation submerged into the eggshell, on that pale blue egg, cracks immediately appeared. Palm-sized, with ice blue fur, and black. A slightly translucent little tiger emerged from the eggshell, named Ghost Tiger. Attribute water, golden quality, ultimate innate skill. Another segment. Seeing this, I couldn't help but feel pensive, as expected of a golden quality pet beast, born with 2 advanced skills, far superior to the low-level turtle retract of the Jade Terrapin. The Ghost Tiger's innate abilities are simply outstanding. At the same time, I felt that enhancement again, both physically and mentally. The enhancement was more substantial. A higher quality means a greater enhancement for me. This is what all forecasters, high-quality pet beasts, not only have greater combat power and higher growth limits, but they also provide a stronger feedback to their contractors. As soon as the little guy came out, he let out a soft growl, and I immediately understood his meaning. This time, I was speechless. From now on, every morning when I wake up, there will be 2 pet beasts crying to be fed. 1 mouth, 2 big ones to feed. I have to find a way to make money. Spirit. Just then, a message notification sounded. I took out my phone and glanced at it. It was the money the young lady lent me, being transferred along with a message. Even if you can't get into Qingyan, you're still the man I've set my seal on. Don't be too stressed. Seeing this, I couldn't help but smile. How didn't I notice before that Liu Ruyan has such an adorable side? In lending me 3 million after borrowing 2 million. My girlfriend is really quite generous. Afterwards, I replied to Liu Ruyan with "Don't worry," with one hand grasping victory. Then I looked towards the Ghost Tiger. From now on, your name is White Tiger. I'll just call you Little White casually. Now go wait in the forecasting space first. I'll get you something to eat. With a thought, I brought Little White into the forecasting space. For the first time, the pre-sale space, Little Bai's reaction was similar to Zuanwu's before. He also froze, but compared to Zuanwu who froze for over 10 seconds, Little Bai's reaction was much quicker. He only froze for 3 seconds before coming back to his senses. Then the little guy let out a cheer and ran into the woods on the island. He said, "Master Mickey, the presale is that room shrouded in mist. My presale space is truly heaven. At least for now." The presale is meant to let the pet beast play in the presale space at this stage. That is simply impossible. Then I looked at Xuanwu's situation. After eating and drinking his fill, this guy actually went to sleep again. For now, I couldn't be bothered to manage him. After all, for a green-shelled turtle, its abilities need a long time to cultivate, and I have an exam to take in 3 months. So I decided that for a period of time, I would focus on training outside of school. Given Little Bai's innate attributes, if trained properly, admission to the youth academy should be imminent. Afterward, I went to the presale marketplace and spent 1 million to buy the white tiger and Xuanwu, 3 months worth of luxury food each. The luxury food for the green-shelled turtle can double its growth rate. As for the ghost tune, its level is quite high, so its food is difficult to prepare. The most expensive luxury option can only slightly accelerate its growth. At this point, I became increasingly aware of how formidable my rapid growth was. The next morning, I was awakened from my sleep by a peculiar wave. My mind stirred, and my consciousness immediately entered the presale space. There I saw Xuanwu sleeping on a rock, enveloped in a faint white glow. It lasted about 30 seconds. Before the white light dissipated, the green-shelled turtle, originally only the size of a face basin, was now a whole fist larger than before. It looked like a small grindstone. It had leveled up. Seeing this, I used my spiritual sense to check Xuanwu's current status. Name: Martial Shelled Turtle. Attribute: Space System, Bronze, low-grade aptitude. Innate skill: low-grade turtle retract. Internal space: super. Growth level increased by 2 stages. Not only had it leveled up, it had also awakened a new skill. At this point, I was utterly shocked. Generally speaking, for a pet beast to increase by 1 stage, let alone 2, would take at least a month. Yet Xuanwu, having just contracted with me, had leveled up in merely half a day. This speed was truly terrifying. Moreover, after leveling up, Xuanwu had even awakened a new innate skill: internal space super. This defies science. It took me a good while to utter these words. For a space attribute pet beast to awaken such an ability, it would need to reach at least the 6th stage with a platinum aptitude or higher. Yet the recently twice promoted Xuanwu, with just a bronze low-grade aptitude for Xuanwu, had actually awakened a space system ability, and an extremely powerful super ability at that. This truly exceeded my understanding. Could this be the doing of the miraculous presale space? After pondering for a while, this was the only explanation I could come up with. It seemed that my divine presale space was far more complex than its surface implied. It took me quite a while to calm down. Then, using my spiritual sense, I inquired about the details of this super ability from the martial uncle. Upon understanding it, I was startled once more. Internal space super. The beast's body contains its own separate space. The size of this space grows as the beast levels up. At first glance, it seems ordinary, just a separate space. But its truly amazing aspect lies in this internal space being able to contain living beings, including humans. As is well known, while beast spaces can store items, they cannot hold anything other than the contracted beasts themselves. In such a case, an internal space that can contain a gourd calabash implies what it means in the wild. When others cower in fear of ferocious beast ambushes, I could sleep soundly within the internal space. It means places humans cannot enter due to hazards can be infiltrated by hiding in the internal space, and countless other ingenious uses. In short, if utilized well, this internal space is incredibly powerful. Thinking of this, my gaze towards Xuanwu grew increasingly affectionate. It was simply amazing. Considering this, I looked at Xuanwu with an increasingly warm and friendly expression. Though this guy is incredibly lazy, sleeping and eating all day, his potential is truly immense. The system ability is truly powerful. After getting up and eating breakfast, I arrived at school on time. At this point, Willow Ruction C was already vacant. Sun Lei and a few other talented students had also reported to the elite class. The classroom felt a bit emptier. I couldn't help but mutter, looks like I need to join the elite class soon as well. Then I turned to the female student beside me and asked, what's the challenge content for your class? If you want to participate in the class transfer challenge. Before Liu Weiwei could respond, a few guys surrounded me instead. Brother Lin, are you saying you don't want to? I asked in return. There's no way we can make it. I feel that challenge exists solely to give people a hard time. I gave them a somewhat helpless look. Why don't you tell me the challenge content first? The challenge is to defeat the arena master in a fight, or withstand the master's attacks for an hour without being defeated. Hearing this, I asked curiously, is the master very strong? The master's beast is a level 3 armored wolf. A level 3 armored wolf isn't that strong, but it's enough to crush those of us who've just contracted beasts. I pondered for a moment, then asked, will the master hold back attacks? Of course not. Of course not. The students chorused unanimously. You're late. I chuckled briefly, then stood up and headed straight out. Seeing this, a classmate reminded me. Where are you going? Class is about to start. The first period is a regular lesson. Going for the challenge. Before the words had fully left his mouth, I had already exited the classroom. The guys were dazed for a moment before reacting. Wow. Is Lin Mo really that confident about the challenge? Why overthink it? Let's just go and see. I'm coming too. So the crowd rushed out in a hubbub. But just as they reached the classroom door, they were stopped by the homeroom teacher carrying books. Class is starting soon. Where are you all running off to? Are you planning a rebellion? You guys want to go for the class transfer challenge? We just want to take a look. The class transfer challenge? The homeroom teacher asked in surprise. You're not lying to me, are you? We've eaten the brave heart of a leopard. We wouldn't dare lie to you. Lin Mo really did go to Li's class. So please let us go take a look, okay? Alright then, go take a look. With that, the homeroom teacher led the way toward the challenge grounds. So this class transfer challenge has been set up for a while now. Let's see if Lin Mo can succeed.